That is nice dance, a lovely song.
Amen.
I hope you know that Brother Brody is very, very important to our church.
Amen.
See, when you've made, he knows me far more than many of you. Danny was with me when I was a pastor in the Bronx church. Way back. That's why he's here today. God is good. Danny, we really want to thank you for the contribution you're making. Blessed hope. Great contribution. You know, I must tell you that I pray a lot. Wonder sometimes, Lord, this is a new year. And you got to give me a message for the church. And it's amazing to see sometimes how the Lord speak to you.
Yes.
It was just about Monday night. Just about 3 o'clock in the morning, I was fast asleep today. I was dreaming. And I was dreaming about the devil. How he's just holding down people and causing them to do so much evil. And I jumped up, realized it wasn't really him. So I jumped up, never go back to sleep. I got my message from there. And I got off my bed and I went down and started to grab my Bible, grab my commentaries and everything like that. And I started to write. And first of all, I went to the book of Deuteronomy. And I looked at it and I said, God's people need courage for 2018. Because the devil seemed to be using this discouragement to rob a lot of us. So the Lord said to me, courage for this 2018 is the word. And I started to write. So when my wife didn't see me last night doing anything, she said, are you preaching tomorrow? Are you preaching today? I said, sure. I said, that thing is taken care of a long time ago. Long time ago. Bow your heads, please. Loving Lord, we are so grateful that you have not forgotten us. You are still with us, leading us, although we don't see you sometimes. But we know you're there. We ask that you will continue to direct, and to guide, and to protect, and to strengthen for Jesus' sake. Topic is a bit called to courage. And it is strange to see how many times the word courage is mentioned in the Bible. I quote you a few of them, just a few of them. In Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6, it says, be strong and of good courage. In Joshua 1 and verse 7, it says, only be thou strong. Be strong and of good courage. That's Joshua 1 verse 6. And 1 verse 7 says, only be thou strong and very courageous. And then in chapter 1, Joshua 1 verse 9, be strong and of good courage. And again in Joshua 1 and verse 18, only be strong and of a good courage. The call to courage. I went to Mr. Webster. I don't know what courage is, but I want to get it out just plainly what it means. And hear what Mr. Webster says. Courage is the quality of mind that enables one to encounter difficulties and danger with firmness. You get that? The quality of mind that enables one to encounter difficulties and danger with firmness or without fear. Have the courage of one's conviction to act consistently with one's opinion. So courage is simply strength of heart, bravery. Subjection to fear is weakness, cowardness, and bondage. Someone said to be afraid is to have no soul that we can call our own. No soul that we can call our own. It is to be at the beck and call of alien powers. To be chained and driven and tormented. It is to lose the life itself in the anxious care to people. I've seen, especially women, so fearful that they will not walk on the lawn. Fear lizards and things that crawl. Little creatures crawl. They have beautiful lawn, but they will not enjoy it. One fear puts you in bondage. They will not even walk there. Many people are so afraid to die that they never begin really to live. But I thank God for courage. Courage emancipates us and gives us to ourselves, that we may give ourselves to freedom we need with any obstacles to serve God. Amen. Fear is Satan's greatest weapon. That's why John reminds us in Revelation that the fearful and the unbelieving shall have no part in the kingdom of God. This stirring trumpet call that come to Joshua and his folks was much needed, for they were about to enter upon a perilous adventure, the conquest of Canaan, an adventure from which their fathers had turned back for fear, defeated and dismayed. The fathers were so fearful that they couldn't even take the truth. When Caleb and Joshua came back and told them the good tidings that they are well able, because they concocted stories that we saw men with grapes on their bunch of grapes on their shoulders look like giants. You see, fear calls you to see things that is not there. They said these men look like giants, and when Caleb and Joshua trying to tell them the truth, they're trying to stone them. And God was so mad with them that God turned them back in the wilderness for 40 years until that generation died out. Fear is not a good thing. So Joshua was giving them their first requirement. And it wasn't training in strategic weapons or movements. If you notice, if you're going to battle, your requirement, you got to be trained in strategic spots, isn't it? Joshua didn't give them that. Joshua didn't tell them to sharpen your weapons and have your weapons prepared. He didn't tell them that. He didn't tell them to relax and eat and be strong and everything like that. He didn't tell them that. It wasn't weapons for preparation. It was simply physical courage. And this is the most needed requirement for all of God's children in this age, living in the closing days of earth history, the last days, and for this 2018 and beyond. Many people are rushing along, all unconcerned because they do not know what danger lies ahead. They don't know. I was telling the elders this morning how I saw these people in New York. I was telling Sabbath school. The ball is going to be dropped. And it was 17 degrees out there. And people came from all over the world, standing for hours in 17 degrees weather. The wind chill factor was -3 degrees. And they stood outside for hours, waiting to see the ball. Brother, I always stand outside for hours waiting to see my master comes back. Not a ball drop. Freezing, the toes are freezing. That's New York City. Ask them to come to the house of God, to give God thanks for spirit life for half an hour. No, thank you. This 2018 brings us 1 year closer to the coming of the Lord. Whether you want to believe it or not, it is so. We know that trouble is brewing. In fact, Sister White says, soon there is to be trouble all over the world. And you don't need to read that anymore in the testimonies. You can listen to it right now on the television. Trouble is all over the planet. We are very near the end. And Satan is working as he has never done before. Adversity, all kind of stuff it's carrying on are his greatest weapon to discourage us and to weaken us. But God uses these same adversities that Satan threw on us to refine us, to sanctify us, and to fit us for the heavenly kingdom. It's time for the church to be courageous and stand up in God's church today. God is not looking for cowards. God gets nothing done by cowards. Oh, I love this inspiring song, Stand Like a Brave. Oh, Christian, awake. It's the Master's command, with helmet and shield and a sword in thy hand, to meet the bold tempter. Go fearlessly, go, then stand like a brave with thy face to the foe. Look at verse 2. The cause of thy master with vigor defend.
Yes.
Be watchful, be zealous, and fight to the end. Wherever he leads thee, go valiantly, go, then stand like a brave with thy face to the foe. Let us look at because of thy master with vigor defend. I remember a couple last Sabbath. Sabbath school was so poor. Sitting right there. 2 visitors are right there. And here on, it's about 7 people. Sabbath school. And Sabbath school was almost finished, and I was right there and I heard one of the visitors says, "Where are the people? Where are the people?" Thank God they came in a little later, but where are the people? Because of thy master with vigor defend. how some of us defended the faith. Many of us will never be able to go out there and tell somebody about the Lord. But you can come to Sabbath school on time and lift up your voices and let Satan understand that you are here defending the cause. Amen. Stand like a brave. Press on, never doubting. Thy captain is near, with grace to supply and with comfort to cheer. His love like a stream in the desert will flow. Stand like a brave, thy face to the foe. Read about Polycarp. When Polycarp of Smyrna was on his way to Rome to meet his martyr's death, his friend Ignatius wrote him a note that says, "Stand thou firm and be as an anvil when it is smitten." Paul, standing before Nero, the Roman governor, and heard his death sentence, death by the axe. Listen to courage. Oh, listen to courageous man. Courageous sword of a cross. Paul, never mind, he thought Nero was going to look to Paul and say Paul was going to beg him. He thought Paul was going to appeal to Caesar for his life. Paul just looked at him and said, "Listen, let me tell you something, saints. The time of my departure is at hand." Departure? You are going to die, and you know you're going to die, but you call it departure? It was departure for Paul because he knows what's coming next. He said, "I have fought a good fight, finished my course, I've kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness." Oh saints, what words to say at the end of your journey. Satan, if he was there trying to get Paul by hearing him, Nero says, "Your head is going to be chopped off," and heard Paul say a thing like that, I think Satan bowed his head and in shame and walked out. Because he knows that guy he cannot get. Courage! Saints, what words to say. Courage is a part of a great athlete to receive blows and be victorious. You remember Muhammad Ali? I remember when he was fighting Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
And Sonny Liston knocked him down twice and thought he got him. But Muhammad Ali got up again and fight and win the battle. Saints, Satan may knock us down in 2017. Don't be courage. Don't be fooled or be fearful. Get up. The battle is ours to win. Amen. Don't let Satan fool you. Don't be discouraged. It is the devil's knock you down off guard. Brush yourselves off. Get back and try for your master. Amen. If you have to recommit your life again to Jesus, do it. Amen. Whatever God asks you to do, do it for His sake. We must endure all things. Someone says, "Great is the courage of the hammer to smite the fearless blow, but greater is the courage of the anvil to be smitten and battered and never beaten." We must have courage against the moral and social evils that are sneaking up in the Church of God today. Homosexuality is creeping in, and even in some Adventist churches, pastors standing in the pulpit and say, "It's okay. It's all right. These are souls too, and they will be saved too." It's quite different to what God tells me. They are souls and they can be saved. if they changed. Yes. Sexual promiscuity is creeping in. Erroneous teachings are creeping in. False conceptions of the Sabbath is creeping in. 2018 says the Church of God got to correct these things.
Amen.
It's not all right to clean the government hospital floor on the Sabbath. It's not all right. It's not all right to do certain things on the Sabbath, and preachers have a responsibility to tell the church members it's not all right. Because some of us, because we are working for health people, we feel that we have to work. And it's right. It's not all right, saints. And that's why God calls us for courage, because when you are courageous, God has many ways of providing. It's not all right. I've been in the hospital looking for sick folks on the Sabbath, and I saw what many souls are doing. Nothing in there to uplift your spiritual life. Nothing in there. Confucius says, to see what is right and not to do it is want of courage. So it is. And the noblest form of courage is to stand fearless for God and right. That's what the church needs most today. Courage. That's moral courage. And here is where this courage is fought. Paul says it's on the spiritual battlefield. He says our wrestling is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against the powers of against the evil world rulers, darkness, against spiritual host of wickedness in heavenly places. As long as this conflict lasts, and evil men and the women are enthroned by the stronger forces of evil, while the souls of men are enslaved, while we are still here wandering desperately in the wilderness, and believe that the promised land is a far-off journey, our supreme need must be for courage. A courage to fight and to win. A courage to challenge the enemy's camp and be victorious. A courage to break down the strong barriers that divide us. A loving and pitiful courage. Champion the weak and the fallen. A courage to rescue the perishing. Care for the dying. Snatch them in pity from sin and the grave. Weep o'er the erring one. Lift up the fallen. Tell them of Jesus, the mighty Savior. Our goal as a church is to boldly advance the standard of the cross until our promised land is won. Courage is our only safety and our only hope. It is the defender of the blessed hope. It is the standing army of the soul. Except we are brave, we can hardly be truthful. Amen. Or generous, or just. Didn't get that. Except we are brave and courageous, we can hardly be truthful. Is coward people lie? Is coward people steal? Is coward people give generously? Don't give generously. Because they don't trust God enough. And once we don't trust God enough, we are cowards. You must be brave in order to fulfill your God-given responsibilities. Amen. Courage is essential to guard the best qualities of the soul. Courage is the key. All goes if courage goes. When there is no courage, you will fall for anything. Someone said, unless a man has that virtue, he has no security for pressing any other. Courage has the main roots, two main roots. And these two main roots are faith and devotion. Courage, two main roots. Some folks put the faith in their education, and their bank account, and their family, are in the strength of their own heart, like Napoleon. Remember what Napoleon did? He didn't fear nothing, and he has supreme confidence in himself and in his destiny. Or like Caesar, was unafraid in the storm. Crew was terrified. That ship was tossing to and from in a heavy storm. And the crew thought they were going to die. And Caesar made that proud reply. He stood up in the midst of the boat, looked at the soldiers, and he says, not while Caesar and his fortune are on board. This ship will never go down. While I am board, I'm aboard. As children of God, we have heard and sometimes seen how self-confident courage ends up. It is far removed from the courage of the men of God, whose trust is not in himself, but our trust is in a higher power. Too often our self-confidence is defiant of heaven, such as the spirit of mortal man is a poor and vain thing. It means leaning on an arm of flesh, and the arm of flesh will fail. Amen. It never go anywhere. Hear what Isaiah says, and the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. True courage has its root in faith in God. Jesus says, fear thou not, for I am your God. Be not dismayed, for I am with you. Yes. Fear is in all its form is an unbelieving thing. The man who is afraid has lost his faith. He no longer believes in God. Peter, in the court of the high priest's house, met by a little teenage girl, was a coward. Peter, coward. Peter just pulled his sword and cut off a soldier's ear in defending of Christ, and went to the place, the Pilate's judgment hall. And a little teenage girl came and said, yes, you are with that man. And Peter looked at that girl and said, no, honey, I don't know that fellow you're talking about. And the girl said, but the more you talk, is the more you sound like him. And Peter now changed his thought and go back to the fisherman language days and read out a couple of those fisherman language. That the little girl got scared and run. But look at the same Peter. After Jesus forgave him, and he realized that he was wrong, look at the same Peter again. Same Peter after Christ's resurrection. Fear was gone. Huh? Peter preached the gospel so boldly, and even though he was in prison and they prayed him out, he came out and preached so boldly, and over 5,000 folks came down. But not only that, they thought that death could sway him. And Satan was pulling his last trick on Peter by saying, all right, we're going to crucify you like we did to the Lord. Peter said, go ahead. But I just beg you one thing. Don't turn me straight up the way you did to my Lord. I am not ready. Turn me upside down. Drive the nail. Brave soldiers. My brothers and sisters, the early martyrs died with some songs in their hearts. When you read the story of the martyrs, they died singing hymns of praise to God. We read about one, this John Calvin, who they were going to burn to the stake. He recanted at one time, but then he realized, what coward I am to let these heathen cause me to recant. He straightened up and accepted Jesus again. And when they put him in the fire that wrote the recanting letter, he put it in the fire first, burned the hand. Soldiers of God must be brave and courageous. God is depending on that. Courage Church is born of the conviction that God is with us and will never fail us. When I boarded that plane to New York, always, that plane, when it soars up in the sky, 22 miles up there, 37,000 feet is 22 miles plus. Up there. When you look down, you don't see nothing. You're traveling plane, you know that. But before I enter, I never go to the pilot and say, man, pray for me that we land safely. I never go to any one of those and ask them to make sure we land safely. I always go to my God. Amen. Lord, I'm going up in that plane. I don't trust them, but I trust you. You see, I can go in the plane because it's not man who came with the invention of the plane. It is God who gives that man the power and the knowledge. And God gives it. And that's what I trust God to do it. Amen. God is the author. Brother, as he said to Joshua, the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Amen. Wait on the Lord. That is the truest and deepest source of courage. Without God, what can you do? You are a frail, weak, tempted, coward, mortal creature. The burdens of life will crush you. The evils of sin will destroy you. The tempest of trouble will overwhelm you. The darkness of death will engulf you. Life itself will scare you. But if you are joined to God, you can resist and endure. You can fight and conquer in God's strength. Our faith is rooted in the conviction of God Almighty's power to save, and His unchangeable will to reign till His kingdom shall come and the world will once again be conquered by Him. Amen. Our faith lies in the fact that our God is King of kings and Lord of lords, and all power is given unto Him in heaven and in earth. Our faith is built on nothing less Jesus' blood and righteousness. Then man, the man that has this faith, has a courage which cannot be uprooted. And like David's may defy every foe. You remember David? I wonder David was a man after God's own heart. Because here is the Philistine. I wonder what kind of battle that was. They come and they gather on one side, showing off their big Goliath. And Israel and the Saul gathered on the other side. And every time Goliath showed up, Saul's knees were knocking. They looked at them and they were scared, they frightened until little David showed up. When he saw this type of stuff, David looked at them, he said, wait a minute. Are you crazy to allow these uncircumcised Philistines chase us? He said, let me tell you something, brother. You come to us with swords and spears and what you want and helmet, but I am coming to you in the name of the Lord of hosts. This is saints, when you come in the name of the Lord of hosts, nothing can scare you. Nothing can frighten you. And that's what we need to come. Last prime root of courage is devotion. This is dying out among God's people today. Devotion. Self-forgetful and self-sacrificing go to the Adventist churches everywhere. It is painful to see how the churches are today. We're living in these last days. Fearful. The self-sacrificing is gone. It's not there. Come to AY and take a look. Sometimes there's a couple of us here. You forget it's still God's Sabbath, eh? You come to Sabbath school, come to the church. Fear, devotion. You see, our breed are dying out. I'm sorry for you all younger folks. Our breed are dying out. Because I grew up in a church where we didn't have all this nice carpet stuff. We didn't have this lovely organ and lovely this. But when it comes to Sabbath school, we are there. When it comes to AY, the church was like divine hour. Never forget when my AY leader asked me, what does the little stammering tongue fellow? He couldn't even dress short pants and everything, fearful to death to stand up. She said, you're going to speak to the church today. One whole week I couldn't eat. Couldn't eat to stand up before so many people and speak. I couldn't. When Friday comes and said, it's really sad. If I could hide, I would hide. I wouldn't go, but I have to go. Stood up there, my knees knocked together. Said a couple words, my teeth nearly chopped off my tongue. But little did I know that it was God who were preparing me. That's the church. But we are waiting today, brothers. We are waiting today. We showed up as if we're giving God a favor by showing up here today. You think God needs me? You think God needs you? God doesn't need anything. God can finish the work and He will finish it Himself if we don't. God can do anything He wants. God can use the benches to stand by the roadside and testify about Him. God can finish the work and He will finish it. But thank God we're a part of it. My brothers and sisters, I'm closing. We have no devotion to anything anymore. what you find to do at your house all Sabbath long, I don't know. But if I'm in my house all Sabbath, I'm tormented.
Yes, so boring.
Selfishness is the root of courage. Such is the secret that sustains our pioneers. And in the darkness of heathenism, or in the squalor of the slums, their faith in God and their devotion to men enlightens the world which we are using today. Selfish courage is gone. The Mother Teresa's are gone. The Livingstone are gone. The Domain dying for the lepers in Africa are gone. Jesus is our pattern. A life of perfect devotion and courage, rooted in perfect faith in God and perfect devotion to men. He had the courage to stand utterly alone on the premise of truth. He had the courage to set his face steadfastly to Jerusalem, knowing what awaited him there. The courage to bear shame and death and darkness and spiritual dissolution. Courage to take up himself the sins of the entire world. My beloved, Jesus' favorite word was courage. Be of good cheer is rightly translated by the Moffat. Be of good courage. To him, to the man sick of the palsy, Jesus says, courage. To the timid woman who touched the hem of his garment, Jesus says, daughter, be of good courage. To the frightened disciples on the wild night sea, Jesus says, courage, it is I. Be not afraid. It is in whom his people trust. His name is Emmanuel. It means God with us.
Amen.
In our fights, God is with us. He will never leave us nor forsake us. So he speaks today to the ones whose bodies are pained and shaken. Jesus says, courage. To those who are looking for jobs and places to lay their head, Jesus says, courage. To the souls whose families are in disarray and children are out of control, be thou courageous. To those who are losing their faith and feel like God is out of reach, Jesus says, courage. Keep in mind, the captain of our salvation ever goes before us. Where the fight is thickest, there is he, an ever-present help in time of need. If you can only listen, you will hear that clarion call, follow thou me. This is the call for 2018. Put on the armor of courage, faith and devotion, and follow the leader, Jesus Christ, our Lord. There is no need to doubt, to be fearful that the work will not succeed. God is at the head of his work. He will set everything in order. Follow him. He will carry this noble ship which bears the people of God safely to port. Amen. The church is a militant church. I am sorry to tell you that there are defective members, fearful members, tares among the wheat. There are evils existing in the church and will be until the end of the world. But as enfeebled and defective is, as you see, the church is. So White says, it is the only object upon earth upon which God places his supreme regards. The bulwarks of Satan will never triumph against his church. All we are called to do, saints, is to be faithful until the end, and we will receive a crown
Amen.
of life.
Amen.
May